this is the very first time where in editing an episode, I started to listen to it and I was like, I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to touch a single word of it.
I love that. I love that. Wait, so have you? Or is it
I
just going to
have,
be a surprise?
I will say, I like just listened to the first 5 minutes and I've been laughing so hard, just remembering the conversation that we had. And it's a lot. This is going to be a long one, y'all. So buckle up. But it is just so full of joy. Catherine Newman is so joyful.
He's like joy personified.
Yes, I believe that is in fact what Ann Patchett says about the book, which is on the cover of her book Sandwich.
Wow. Okay. Well, Anne and I are in sync because I didn't even take it from that.
I don't know if it's exactly joy personified, but it's something along those lines. Absolutely. Ann Patchett says so. Brett says so. I say so. It is a book that is just full of joy, but also so is Catherine Newman. As always, if you're liking what you're hearing, share us with your friends. Follow us on social media at Gaze Reading. And all of the books that we talk about will be found in our bookshop.org page, which the link to that will be in our show notes. Catherine Newman, she has written numerous columns, articles, and canned bean recipes for magazines and newspapers. And her essays have been widely anthologized. She is the author of the novel We All Want Impossible Things, the memoirs Waiting for Birdy and Catastrophic Happiness, the middle grade novel One Mixed Up Night, and the best-selling kids life skills books How to Be a Person and What Can I Say? She lives in Amherst, Massachusetts. And I'm obsessed with her. I'm Jason.
I'm Brett.
And enjoy this delicious sandwich episode of
Delicious.
Gaze Reading.
Reading.
Hi, I'm here.
Hello. Hello there.
Hang on. I'm such a fucking old lady. It's depressing. Okay, hang
So
on.
there's this thing called Zoom.
Am I muted? Sorry.
Right. That's right.
Sorry.
Right.
Sorry.
Hi.
Catherine, I'm so excited
How
to
are
meet
you?
I'm so happy to see your actual faces.
I know. I said to Maya, I was like, I think I'm most excited to just finally become best friends with Catherine.
Well, a slot has opened up because my best friend died. And so here we are. The timing could not be better.
I'm here for you.
I would give you a call
I'm here
back
for
for
you.
that reading.
Oh, I'm also warm. So I'm going to take this jacket
Oh
off.
my
I know.
God.
I just took my flannel shirt off because I realized I was looking like more butch than I really am. And
Got it.
I got
It was like a false persona going on.
a teeny bit of a false persona.
Just in case you have yours with you right now, I wanted to show you my compression gloves.
I didn't bring mine. Wait. Did I write something about my compression gloves?
You did. I can't remember where, but yes, you said so. Oh my God! I was listening to you on someone else's podcast, and you were like, "Don't mind me. I'm just wearing my weighted compression gloves." And I was
And
like,
that's when Jason knew you
"Catherine,
were
we're the
best friends.
same."
That's
oh my
when you
God.
knew.
Wait, what do you have? Do you have like a thing? Why can't I hear? I'm so deaf. Okay.
Tendonitis in my thumb.
From
I'm fucking reading. This is not my dominant hand. This is from reading.
I also have had tendonitis from reading, but as I mentioned, you have also had tendonitis from Sudoku.
Yes.
Because I hold it and it's super awkward. Anyway, it's not
Well, so
really
now I'll read books and I'm like holding the books in the most ridiculous ways.
Yes. And have you gotten any like I got for my birthday? I just will just hobble on with my cane and just say old lady things. But
Catherine, I'm wearing my knee brace while we're talking right now.
And by the way, he's the youngest person on this call.
I know, right?
Like I'm
I
older than both
know.
of you, but he's the youngest on this call.
I'm looking at your skin and not believing you. But for my birthday was given by my husband. Here's a little snapshot of romance for you.
Yeah.
I was given a a kind of weighted cushion that helps you read in bed without putting so much pressure on your hands.
So wait, I don't understand how that
Interesting.
works. The cushion goes under your wherever, like on your knees or on your
No.
thighs.
So I'm lying on my back with my
Mhm.
knees up in the cute little way I read in my like, granny nightgown. And the cushion goes in my lap and the book
Yeah,
is propped
okay.
up on it so
So
that I'm not just exhausted.
I really wanted to try a weighted blanket once. And so I bought a weighted blanket. The
Yes.
first night I used it, and I was like, this was the best invention known to man.
Yes.
2 nights later, I woke up, my whole body was sore and bruised. And I was like, what is wrong with me? And I Googled, and that happens to some people when they're moving around in the middle of the night with the weighted blanket on. And I was like, I'm a fucking mess.
You're
How are
like
you
a-
moving around? Like, were you
You're
like a
fighting?
fighting?
Fragile little snow.
Oh
I'm
my
so
God.
fragile.
There with
It's
your
my
like
Ashkenazi
delicate-
roots.
Ah,
That's right. Were we like fleeing across the desert with a weighted fucking blanket? No, we were not. We were not.
maybe we were.
left it behind. Yeah, we probably were. We were like,
Right.
hang on, I got a weighted blanket, also allergy medication.
My-
wait for me.
My ancestors were like, I paid 6 shekels for that. It is coming with me.
I mean,
It's
You were-
fucking coming.
I heard they don't have them as good there where we're
Right.
going. Okay, while we're Jewing it up, I gotta Jew it up with my Zabers mug.
oh, thank God.
I know I wasted mine yesterday, as you know. I have a Captain Hook mug today. The desert's weighted blankets are just not the same.
They're just
Oh.
not the same.
Okay, wait. I
Alright.
don't want to talk about your other book because that's not why we're here. But
Yeah.
I just started, I'm like halfway through the audiobook, and I just have to say, things I didn't realize were a problem for me are semi trucks without the truck. And I was
Right?
like, oh my God, I feel the same way. It's like a lizard without its tail.
Oh my God, right? And it's just beetling along the highway next
Yeah.
to you. Just
It
the cab.
makes me feel so uncomfortable, and I didn't realize it.
I
So I just needed, I
Thank
wanted
you.
to say that that's the only thing
I-
I want to talk about for the old book.
That is, no one's ever mentioned that to me before, and I just feel really seen. So thank you.
I felt seen too. This is why I was like, I can't wait to meet Catherine, because the whole book, I was like, I feel seen. That's it, period.
Thank you. It's the best.
Which
Thank
is
you.
hilarious because you're probably like, I expected 40 and 50-year-old women to be the ones to feel seen.
I know it's really true on the one hand, and on the other hand, like what a gift. I mean, that's reading in general, the way you feel
Mhm.
seen by people who are not your actual demographic, and the way as a reader, you're like, oh, this totally speaks to me, even though this person's life is so different from mine. The best. What could be
Although
better?
Yeah.
I'm so warm right now, maybe I am going through menopause.
Maybe bruising under the weighted blanket, sweating at
God.
night. Oh
I have my
God.
coffee
Jason.
and my water.
Oh
I
my
hope-
God, that's
I hope we get to a second season before you die.
Did Maya tell you we needed 3 hours for this conversation?
Oh my God, Maya is.
The first hour is going to be spent talking about Jason's ailments, and then we'll move
Oh my
on.
God. Also, thank you for using the word ailment. I have like a weird thing that is typically called a disease, but I hate the word disease. So I've started referring it to it as my queer ailment. I have a
What?
queer ailment.
You mean
It's just a queer ailment. We'll not discuss it further. I have a queer ailment.
Okay.
Wait,
That's
is-
what my
isn't-
daughter calls it. My daughter's queer. And so she's
Right.
reclaimed queer for like everyday use
Yeah,
to
yeah.
describe something
But is it the
weird.
Crohn's?
I really love.
Stop asking questions. She just
No, I
said
only
she's
asked
going to
that-
leave it at that.
I don't have Crohn's. Do I? Is that Crohn's? From
No, maybe
where?
it's mentioned in the book. No, it stood out to me.
Where's the
because I-
envelope?
It is in the book. Oh my
It's
God.
in the book, and my business partner
Okay,
has
let's
Crohn's.
Is
find
that-
out.
Right.
Catherine Newman has Crohn's. You
That's when we
either
break it.
find out from Brett or from your patient portal that you're like essentially dying. They used to call you in person, and now they just let you find it on the portal. You're like, oh, what? How did that go? Oh my God, it went really badly. It's just
I had
there on the
gotten
portal.
blood work done. And on Friday at like 8 p.m., the results came in, and I had like high levels of something. And I was
Did
like,
you go? Did you
I-
Google it?
of course.
MenMD.
And of course, I didn't
WebMD.
find out until Monday that everything was fine. But I was like,
God.
the fucking portal.
The
Yeah.
portal. That's how
Yeah.
you find out everything. The portal
Yeah.
or Brett.
Yeah.
I have Crohn's. Thanks,
I know.
Brett. I still have a weird ailment. It's just not Crohn's. But I
Okay.
am a crone, which is confusing. I mean, that is a
Mm.
confusing like word thing, you know,
Yeah.
that I'm like
Mm.
heavily crone identified. It has a
crone with the queer ailment that's not Crohn's.
That's it. That's
That's
the
what
name
it says
of
on
my...
your website.
That sounds like a sentence that you'd
I
be
did
for
my
someone
research.
learning their English. That's one of those sentences of like how two words can mean different things, but they
Oh my
sound
God,
the
it's
same.
so true. And you have to say it at customs in the airport.
Exactly. Yeah.
Wait, are you obsessed with pears?
I am obsessed with pears. You're looking at my gallery,
gallery
wall. I
wall
just
of
learned it was
pears.
called a gallery wall, which makes me feel so fancy.
Welcome. Is that your
Wow.
queer ailment that you didn't know what a gallery wall was?
Oh, it's my queer ailment. Is not knowing. Yeah, someone gave me a pear. I love pears. Like they're so sexy. You know, they're very. I used to have a big ass, which I didn't realize would go away later, which is so complicated. It's its own thing.
Oh, I'm
I
very
thought-
sorry.
Yeah, like I was like, oh, this is part of my identity. I'm like a person with a big. I couldn't buy jeans like they were too big in the waist because my ass is so
Yeah.
big. Whatever. It was like a problem, and now I don't have one at all. Like I woke up and it was gone. Anyway, different story. But so I love pears because I gave me that like big ass vibe. And somebody gave me one. And then as soon as you have a framed thing, it's someone's like, oh, she
Yeah.
collects pears. And
Right.
I have been given and painted pears and I freaking love them. And but I have to be really selective now. Like there's just a little room
Yeah.
between the top and the ceiling. And it's kind of
Okay.
A pair on the
I-
side.
I say that because we just posted an interview. Oh, I guess it was a few weeks ago, but the book came out on Tuesday. It's called The Safe Keep. And it's Sapphic, Call Me By Your Name. But pears
Oh.
play a big part in it. And Brett's going to get the book so you can see the cover. I
Yeah.
know.
It's a gorgeous cover.
It's
like-
Bashert.
yes.
It's Bashir. And also, do pears play a
part
call
in the
me by
book.
your name fruit type of role? Like the peach?
No,
You'll
like
just have to
peaches and
read it
Call Me
and
Your
find
Name, yeah.
out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I
With all your spare
love-
time.
I love the peach. Timothy Chalamet and the peach. That was just a fantastic, wonderful scene.
I was like, don't say it was delicious. You know.
I
Or
mean,
delicious.
it was delicious.
We just watched Saltburn with my kids, and my kids are 24 and 21, and they'd already seen it. They'd like gotten stoned the night before and watched Saltburn, and then they were like, "You guys will love this. We have to watch it again." And they were like, "Brace yourselves. It's so grotesque, and it's like so scandalous." And my husband and I ended up feeling like they were such
Rude.
Victorian prudes. You were like, he drank the cummy bathwater. I would drink like anybody's cummy bathwater. I don't care at all. Or like he, grinds into the grave. I went down on somebody who had her period. All of these things, I was like, you guys get over yourself.
You're like, that was college freshman year.
It is funny. There's a lot of studies, I say, as though I've done the research, but I feel like
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of memes or things on Instagram about young people being not anti-sex, but like less
No,
sexual.
It is. Yeah.
Is that
Then-
a thing?
Yes. I mean, says the things I've stumbled
Says
upon.
the study.
Yeah.
Says
No, I
the
can't do
BuzzFeed.
TikTok, but yeah, says the other random things I've fallen
BuzzFeed
upon.
report. My daughter especially will say things to me that are so ribald. Like and that was for me, like so much identification of this book is that relationship of the kids with the parents. And it's like, I just find it fascinating how like suddenly I'm like a sex addict and a dirty old man. You know what I mean? So
I just yelled. We were camping with both kids over the weekend, camping on the Cape. And I yelled from the pond, "Hey, when you come in the water, bring the nudes." And I just meant the noodles. And
Yeah, right.
oh my God, the kids like passed
Appalled.
away from shame and horror as if I was yelling out this completely grotesque, like sexting harassment thing, just randomly, like on the beach on the Cape.
There's that acknowledgement as you're a kid and you get older that your parents are human, right? And that's kind of I had an English teacher once say the first biggest disappointment in a child's life is when they realize that their father is human, and the second is when they realize their mother is the same way. But I would take that further to say when they realize you're a sexual creature, right? That just because you're in a marriage, just because you're in a relationship, it doesn't mean that you don't see people walking by. You don't, all those things are still prevalent, especially in a day where everyone's looking at a phone and everyone's looking at pictures. And that's a freak out for, I think, and my kids certainly,
which is interesting because I've cycled back. I've like gone through that phase, I think, at a certain point in my life. And now my mom has been single for a very long time. And I'm like, girl, go have sex. Yeah.
Right. I love
she hasn't
that.
even been on a date since divorcing my dad. Like, come on.
And do you actually say that or you just feel it?
I think I just feel it because I think my mom would maybe die if I said that to her.
Yeah, right.
And I want you to say it just like that. Girl.
I've never heard her say the word sex. I think I've heard her say the word gay 8 times. Like, and I've been out for like 20 years.
Happy. And it was references to things being happy.
Not even.
Or an ailment.
Right. Yes.
Oh my God. Yeah. My daughter, who's 21, the minute she gets home from college, she drags her mattress into our bedroom and sleeps on the floor all summer.
That's so cute.
Is that part of me is like, she just is keeping us from having sex. That's her God-given goal. Is just to be there every second.
Yeah. No, it's true.
But it's the best. I mean, I can't pretend to not like it.
It's adult cock blocking.
I'm just like watching the time tick away.
Oh,
and
sorry.
We have to get on. Yeah.
No, I have nowhere to be. And so I could sit on this Zoom.
Okay. Let's talk about that book.
We have so many sandwiches to talk about.
Yes.
Okay, great.
What are your feelings on PB&J?
Love PB&J. It's like if you don't have it every day and then you have it occasionally, and the jam's good. It's like something actually delicious, like rhubarb or sour cherry or something. It is so freaking delicious.
Creamy or crunchy?
I'm crunchy, but we have both kinds in the house. Are you crunchy?
Wait,
yeah,
so
totally
listen,
crunchy.
My husband and I have been together for 10 years. We've been married for 7. And literally 4 days before our 7th anniversary, which was like a week and a half ago, I learned that he has been giving in to my preference of crunchy.
And you didn't even know it?
I didn't even know. I found this out.
But did you have both
over
at home?
10 years into our relationship?
You've had both jars at home?
No, we've only had crunchy at home.
Wait, he gave in without like performing it as a huge mitzvah? What kind of person? He gave in quietly? He didn't draw attention like, look at me, I'm a martyr. I mean, what a sweetheart. That's such a darling thing.
I know. It must be his Italian side.
So now will you have both kinds? Because peanut butter you can actually...
I did buy him creamy.
But a small jar.
Okay, this is a secretly very romantic story, actually.
Yeah. Okay. For our listeners who have not yet read Sandwich, what is your elevator pitch, logline, one-liner about the book?
Okay. You'd think I'd have one.
It's okay.
I feel I wanted to write a book about a couple different things. And one of them is a thing that I call, even though my publicists in both the US and the UK are like, maybe stop saying that. But a thing I like to call reproductive mayhem. And that is being embodied in this like cis female body, having sex with men for a lifetime of like fertile decades. And by the time you hit menopause, it is almost inevitable that you have this really layered history of that embodiedness that has tons of trauma in it. It's almost impossible not to. Meanwhile, if you have a partner who's a cis guy, he's just been like coming and then going and having a bowl of corn checks. Like it's such a non-intersecting experience. And I really wanted to write about that. And I wanted to write about the particular moment of it, of sort of hitting menopause and that kind of reflection on reproductive mayhem on the one hand, and on the other hand, kind of the this is the part where it's trying to masquerade as a beach read, where this family, so putting aside reproductive mayhem, where this family has been renting the same beach house year after year after year, and the kind of layered memories of this main character who's in this beach house with her young adult kids and her aging parents, and all of just the like Matryoshka doll of experiences in this 1 week. That's the elevator pitch. I know it's kind of grotesque, but
I hate doing this to for authors, but here I am doing it again. Here you go.
Oh, are you giving it to me?
It's a reproductive mayhem on beach read bread.
Enjoy your sandwich.
Enjoy your
That is really good. Okay, thank you.
Am I wrong though?
No,
that's what it is.
That's what it is. It's really true. That's an actually really excellent way to put it, because that is the secret of the book. Like, you pick it up, it's got this moody kind of beach read fun cover, and then like before you know it, you're just in deep with her like feelings and blood clots and whatever.
Yeah. Wait, is there also the town in there? Is that?
Yes.
But you don't even talk about that.
I know.
Because there's a town on Cape Cod, Brett, called Sandwich.
Yeah.
Is it really? I didn't...
Coming home on Memorial Day, we drove through it for approximately like 36 hours, even though it's just like this size of a pinhead. Yeah, that is not where the book actually takes place. It takes place in Wellfleet, but it's too good to give up.
Of course, and like, you know,
it doesn't matter. It's on the page.
And it also like you don't even allude to the fact that it takes place there. You don't even mention that there's a town.
I know, but I'm sneaking it in.
It is there, yeah.
Wow,
Gotcha.
that's such a little Easter egg.
Thank you. Yeah.
But it's just like caught in the middle, but also like sandwiches are this like summer tradition. You know, you do the thing where you like make the sandwiches and like put them back in the bread bag. And,
oh my God, I totally do that.
Yeah.
Well,
it's a mom thing.
It's a mom thing, but it's also there's such a ritual, because I was like, what does that sandwich mean? What does it mean to you? Like, because to me it spoke so much, and it's so detail oriented both times in the book. So I have to believe, like, as a mother, as a parent, what does that mean to you? Just the sandwich ritual.
Totally. I mean, my kids just this past weekend on the beach eating their sandwiches were, talking about sandwiches being my love language, which is completely true. And like, there's a kind of caretaking that is, everybody wants something different. One of my kids has celiac disease, so I have to make the sandwich like on a cutting board in a different room. Like, it's all such an act of devotion, and I love doing it. Like, when they were little, it was kind of one thing too many to make sandwiches while everyone's like needing you to put sunscreen all over them or whatever. And now it's this like incredibly precious, I don't know, there is something holy about it for me, truly, the making of the sandwiches. And then on the beach, I troll ruthlessly for compliments. Like, I cannot, if God has helped you, if you just like eat your sandwich without comment, like, please, I'll be like, how good is your sandwich? And the kids will be like, oh God, sorry, so good.
And if you don't hear,
right.
I'm like, I didn't make it just, for your health. I made it so I could hear how good it was.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'm just picturing
our ancestors did not leave with their weighted blankets
and their allergy medication.
And their allergy medication, for you to not enjoy this sandwich. It's
that
not
bread,
even on matzah.
Right. That bread is so crusty and chewy in the center. Like, I just picture the whole thing, and I'm hearing Sarah Bareilles being like sugar, butter, flour, and like just like the knife, like with the mayo or whatever. I picture all of it, like the cheese.
Oh my God, me singing the entire Waitress soundtrack beginning to end. Totally.
What's your sandwich of choice?
Mine is the tuna sandwich that Rocky makes in the book with the pepperoncini and the pepperoncini juice and the, celery, dill.
Yeah.
That's my sandwich. That's it. So
You know who does
it's
a really good tuna? I don't even think they
Oh.
have them back east. Is Sprouts has a really good tuna salad.
It's a grocery
Just
store.
FYI. Yeah, it's like
a
a
fancy
Whole
grocery
Foods.
store.
It's like Whole Foods. You have Whole
Yeah,
Foods,
yeah.
right?
Oh,
Whole paycheck. Yeah.
yeah, whole paycheck.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, if the tuna salad has onions in it, then I wish I hadn't eaten it, just to be totally transparent. Besides, because a little bit of reflex, not Crohn's.
The
Just
reflex.
a little
I know.
bit.
It's a relatively new thing for me, Catherine.
Oh my God.
Gotta
And
get
did
the
you have
Tums.
did you have a doctor who was like, here, it's called omeprazole. Take it for the rest of your life.
No, I've just been going
you'll-
for Tums
oh.
for now.
Oh,
I'm sure the omeprazole
Yeah,
will
it's
come later. Right?
it's coming.
I literally took my pills this morning and I was like, I'm 36 years old.
Why am I taking a handful of things? I know. And your doctor you'll be like, is that an omeprazole tattoo? And he'll be like, oh, maybe. Like they're shilling for the
They gave it to me
omeprazole
for
people.
free.
The rap came with a tattoo gun.
Meanwhile, I'm thanking my WASP parents right now for my good health.
Oh my God. No, I know. Every now and then my husband and I are like, why did we hook up with the exact same horrible genes as each other?
Yeah.
But
Your
whatever.
poor kids.
But here we are.
Here we are doing our best.
I literally had to take ibuprofen yesterday because I gave myself a headache from laughing so hard. I was like 20 pages. I was 20.
I'm going to take one more Tums and a little bit of ibuprofen.
Right.
Literally. I was 20 pages from the end for the second time, howling. And my husband from the couch next to me goes, "You've read this already. Like,
Oh,
how are you laughing as
Yeah.
hard as you're laughing?"
But maybe it's anticipatory too, because you know it's going to be funny. So you get
No,
to it.
Brett, because you know more than anybody. The moment I close a book, I remember nothing.
Yeah, I know. I understand.
Aw,
I was actually
thank you.
reading the whole menopause sequence 2 nights ago. I read it to 2 different people. I read it to Chip in bed the other night, and I was again laughing hysterically. Then I did read it to my business partner yesterday, and she was guffawing. Yeah, all of it.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank
was
you
that
so much?
was that us telling you how much we liked your sandwich? Was that
Uh-huh.
good enough?
It was so
Yes.
good. I'm so satisfied. I know. I'm just sitting here like basking. I'm such a child. I just praise, just like bring it.
As I was reading it, I was going,
Yeah, exactly.
This
is a
sandwich.
really
Yes.
delicious sandwich. Thanks, Mom. I know.
Okay, so it's hilarious, but it also is very serious because it is, reproductive mayhem on beach read bread. A huge piece of the book is about it's hard to change even though you have to change. Both like change as just like things change in your life, circumstances change, but also there's like the change trademark for
Yeah.
the humans with those parts. Why do you think it's so hard to change?
How? Like, why is change so hard? I guess those are different questions in a way. Like, there's the question about like why it's so hard to change yourself, which I guess Rocky in the book is trying to do both things. Like, she's trying to get out of her own way because she is keeping herself from being happy by imagining she has more control over everything than she actually does. But also the inevitable change, that it's like my kids are growing up. I mean, Rocky's kids are growing up.
Wink, wink.
Nice catch. But like my kids are growing up, and so they're growing away from us, and we keep being just overjoyed at them wanting to spend time with us still. Like it is the greatest gift and so moving to us, that we'll hear from our son, like, I'm going to meet you guys like at the campground from New York. And, you're just like dying because they don't have to, And then my parents are 92 and 87. And I always say, like, if anything ever happened to my parents, and Michael's always like, what could happen to your parents? Like, it's just this ridiculous open secret that's pretty old.
Yeah.
So
Sure.
I'm like braced for loss all the time. And I think I'm trying to learn to, if you really lived in the moment, then change wouldn't be so scary. Like, I don't need to give up. I think part of what Rocky's trying to learn in the book, and in some ways she does it better than me because I made her up. But that feeling of like just centering yourself in the present so that you don't waste every beautiful moment of your life with this kind of anticipatory grief.
You get to a certain age and you are straddling that line between you're a parent, you're still a child, because if you're lucky enough to still have your parents, but you're also in that transition of facing, like you said, inevitable loss, or at the same time, you've also been in relationships long enough where you see many relationships and potentially your own go by the wayside. So it is this strange moment of, because we're also living longer, people are experiencing life differently. And so I watched so much of what she was going through in this book, and I just think it's so moving and it's so real, and especially so much of the stuff with the parents, but again, it's like waiting for the shoe to drop, on top of the fact of having like a 17-year-old who's going through everything you go through when you're 17 years old, and a girl. And so all of these things, I'm watching Rocky, and it's such a identifiable and very now crisis of how do you balance all this and stay present.
Right. And it's such a delicate, like, you have little kids, and I don't mean to romanticize it, because God knows I was like hanging myself every minute when I had little kids, but it's like they're what they need is so obvious in a lot of ways. It's like they need to be fed, and they need to be comforted, and they need to be rocked to sleep and bathed, and it's like it's just this rolling kind of caretaking that is what it is. And then all of a sudden you have these people who are 20 on the one hand and 90 on the other hand, and you have to be so subtle, and it's so delicate. Like, it's so easy to offend young adults. It's really easy to offend older people. Like, you can't overstep. My parents are very quick to feel like we treat them like children, even though all we've done is like make a Zabar's run, whatever it is that we do to be helpful. It's very easy to overstep. And so it's just really like all the time, it's like if you have some intervention to make, you'll probably lie in bed discussing it for like 3 nights before you make it.
Absolutely.
It's so interesting just to hear you say that, because a phrase that you just said is, it is what it is. And I think, like, in talking about change, it's like the seasons change and we know that, but they still happen. Rocky gets to vacation and knows that come Friday, she's going to say, how's it Friday already? There is this thing that we know is going to happen, and yet we still have to move through it. You know winter's coming.
Yes.
But like you're dreading putting on the coat. Right. So there is that interesting, like, understanding change is there and happens because that's life. The world does keep turning. But it's the like waking up every day and needing to deal with it. That's
Sure.
like, it is what it is.
Well, and it's like, and like she was like, Catherine, like you're saying, staying in the present. And how do you do that? How do you constantly remind yourself that, like, okay, here is this. And I certainly have had to do that just for sanity, to say, I can deal with exactly what's in front of me only right now. And I found myself envious of Rocky so many times, because I think, yes, she can probably be a pain in the ass to her kids, but she's fucking cool and she's going through shit. But I was like, I want to fucking deal with my kids this way. And I want to, because I feel like she does it so deftly, despite the fact that, she's probably thinking, I'm fucking up, I'm doing this, that, and the other. but what she's putting out, especially to her kids, it's so, the basis of it is all fronted in love. And I think that's so beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you. Whatever all else, I do think my kids are not going to one day look back and think they weren't loved robustly. They're going to have a lot of other shit to say, but I don't think it's going to be that.
You a few minutes ago made a quote unquote joke about
So embarrassing. It was like a joke. It was structured as a joke, but not at all funny. Anyways,
about comparing yourself to Rocky as though you are maybe not wink wink one and the same. That brings me to a very important topic of conversation and like gave me a bit of an existential crisis in reading the book. Can we talk about John?
Who's John?
Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt. I was like, I've never thought about this song as a way as you like meet yourself and don't even realize it's you. And I was like, that is not Catherine and Rocky because she clearly knows it's her. But like that made me think of that. I was like, oh, there is this reflection of yourself and it's not really you. Just like John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt.
I'm never going to get over this particular moment. I was like, oh my God, is one of my characters named John? I'm such a dumbass. I don't even know
You remember your character? You don't remember your characters?
John? Because I write them all with their names in real life and then I change the names. How sensible is that? It is so stupid. It's like, that is not how fiction works. At the last second, I'm like hitting send to the like printer and I'm like, hey,
but I'm sure so many people do that.
I gotta change those names. And then I named somebody John, apparently. No. John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt. That's my name too.
Yeah, existential crisis. Did you feel that way in writing the book? Did you really feel like you were able to sort of see yourself and yet remove yourself a little bit?
Not remove myself. No. I mean, I think somebody last year was like, "Oh, you write autofiction." I was like, "Do I? Okay, I write autofiction." You know, I think I wrote memoir for a long time before I wrote fiction, and I think I don't have like a world building imagination really, like the way fiction writers imagine things. I don't imagine stuff as much as like collect funny things and then try to structure a story such that I could use the most of them possible. So I just have like reams of notes about like conversations and relationships, and then I'm trying to figure out how to organize that into a story. Isn't that like TMI about my writing process?
No,
it's so
that's
grim.
amazing.
No, because did you ever watch The Office?
Of course.
Okay, so the episode where Michael takes an improv class, and no matter what it is, he pulls out a gun. And I feel like that would probably be me with storytelling too. Like, it's like, Jason, make up a story. I'd be like, okay, so there's this guy and he like wakes up in a magical land and he meets a guy with no brain, and then he meets a guy with no heart, and then he meets a guy without courage. And then they'd be like, wait, no, that's the Wizard of Oz. Come up with another story. I'd be like, okay, so a girl wakes up in a magical land and then she meets us.
Now you're doing Wicked.
I feel like that's what you're talking about. Like, were you
always, because of your previous books and things? It's funny because when I was little, you always, and people do this, you tell people stories about what your kids do, and they're like, you should write this down. And did you always get that? Were people always saying to you, oh my God, write that story down? That's hilarious. You should write that down. Especially as a writer, I'm sure you got that.
Well, I already was, like, I had a weekly column about my kids, so I was writing it down, and that was actually great practice, just like writing funny stuff down. And then there's a certain period, your kids age out of you being able to freaking write about them all the time.
Sure.
Like, that is not okay. Damn it.
Yes.
Their whole like selves and personalities and independence.
But you changed the name.
I changed the name. Leave me alone. But I will say both kids vetted the book. Aston, my husband, who in every book I write, he's this like beleaguered, baffled saint, which may or may not be what he's like in real life, where he's like this hot, beleaguered, like confused guy who just wants to have a good time. Anyway, so everybody vetted it, which, I don't think that's a fully clean thing, because obviously they don't want to be like, could you not publish the book you wrote? But they were pretty, I think they were okay about it.
Yeah. You have said, okay, so you just said you weren't really able to remove yourself, a la
Right.
John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt, but you've said you bleed on the page and then point to the page and laugh at it. Do you feel like you were able to do that? Like, was it cathartic in that way?
Oh, that's such a good question. I mean, I've already like pre-laughed at myself about almost every single thing.
Mm.
I'm not slow to do that, just to be honest. Like, I'm usually laughing at myself even as bad things are unfolding. But I think there was something cathartic about, I think it's like, I don't know if cathartic is going to turn out to be the right way, but like, you have this life and it's just like a million points of experience and contact and relationships. And it's like this galaxy of moments. And you tell a story and you connect a certain set of them to like create this constellation that has a shape, And there is something about seeing the shape that quiets something for me, where it makes sense of a certain set of the points. Like, then I see it. Like, for me, the constellation in this book that I have connected is like the constellation of Rocky's kind of like reproductive trauma in a way. And I think just connecting that set of dots helped me understand something, which was really helpful. So in that way, maybe, yeah, cathartic. And you always know that there's a million other dots that you're leaving out, and a million other constellations you could have chosen to draw instead, instead of this, I don't know what, like, the constellation of the raging menopausal hag, or what's the constellation?
So I guess there must be something something to reflect on, is like seeing the constellation that you landed on.
Yeah.
Right. Like, this is where this ended up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the shape of this story.
Rocky is unapologetically queer. The multiple characters are unapologetically queer. You have unapologetically queer characters, and We All Want Impossible Things. Can you talk about that as a writer and why that's important to you?
Yeah. It's so funny. Just as you were saying that, I was thinking, I did this house tour on the blog Cup of Joe, and with Joanna Goddard. Do you know her at all?
No.
Oh,
I've seen the logo of the thing.
So she has like 20 gazillion readers, and so they did this house tour where this photographer came, and I was like, I'm not putting the cat litter away, whatever. So our house was very much the way our house is, and it resonated for people because it was just like the real, and the house is amazing, and it's like dirty and cluttered, and I have my share of halfway dirty clothes that was photographed for this like international audience.
We all have it.
I know some people might have put it away before the photo shoot, which I didn't think to until
they're liars.
Sort of it. Anyway,
Pizzeria.
but somebody said in the comments, I happen to know from something I read that Catherine Newman is bisexual, and I don't know why you kept this information from her house tour. And I love the idea that there would have been something on the house tour that would have been about my bisexuality.
Those pairs.
Actually, good point. Right,
Subtle.
or that there would have been like a photo of me like fingering a girl. Like, what would have been the thing that communicated
Right.
like this is a bisexual house?
Yeah.
Right.
Our house is bisexual. However, I do live in a bisexual house, metaphorically, and so queerness has been just like a part of my identity. I mean, at this point, in a slightly if a tree falls way, because oh my God, I have been with this guy for 30 something years, but I still really
Congratulations.
identify. Thank you. I still like. Everyone makes fun of me because like I have a major crush on Pamela Street, which actually makes a tiny guest appearance in the book. And like, oh my God, we're listening to the Billie Eilish like freaking Cunnilingus song.
Oh my
Can
God.
you even?
Lunch.
It's so dirty.
Now, wait, I will say, I got to digress and say, I was driving to the desert with my kids the other day, and they were both like, we have to put this on. And there was no like fronting except to tell me what it is. So I just kind of sat and listened to it. And I was like, this is great. And they were like, can you believe it? Can you believe? I think they were waiting for me to be scandalized. And I was like, all right. I was like, wow, you guys, this is your version of She-Bop.
And not scandalize us. We will not be scandalized, Brett.
No.
Anyway, so there's just, and our daughter's queer. She's like a old fashioned butch in this way that just freaking kills me. She's like the cutest thing, and like a lot of our friends are queer. I don't know. It's like a very queer environment that we live in, and so it ends up in the book, and it doesn't end up in the book on purpose, if you know what I mean. Like,
sure.
It's not, and I worry about that because sometimes if you don't think through something, then maybe you've done a shitty job of it. Like, and I actually had Birdy read Sandwich in an earlier stage for, almost just like queer okayness. And there were, and, you know, like, I'm not sure what my blind spots are as per there being my blind spot. Like, you can't see it. Anyway. So, anyway, I don't know.
If you know what your blind spots are, those are not your blind spots.
Right. Anyway, so there's just, it's a queer life.
Yeah. I love that.
Henry Higgins. Oh, no, that's not. It's a fine life, Henry Higgins.
Oh, it's a fine life. It's from Oliver.
But isn't it Henry Higgins? Isn't that what he says it to? It's a fine life. Henry
No,
Higgins.
It's My Fair Lady. We're mixing up our musicals.
Okay, please edit that out. It's a fine.
No, that is the most homophobic thing you could have just
That's
done.
exactly it. Right after talking about all this positive queerness, and then like not even getting the musicals correct. God damn it.
No, but that's okay. At the time of recording, Audra McDonald was just announced to play Mama Rose and Gypsy yesterday. And so that's like taken up enough queer bandwidth.
The gays go
excuse
crazy.
me. Jason, I saw that on your Instagram story and Googled it in case we ended up having a conversation about it. I was like, I will not be like sideswiped by whatever this is. That's very exciting. So I read a little about it. I just prepped in case it came up.
Tickets on sale today.
And here it is.
Yes,
I saw that it was very exciting.
Important.
It was important and exciting.
Yes, you've earned back your whatever
my
card you lost. Your Henry Higgins.
Yes.
Oh my God. Okay. In our last few minutes, sometimes I like to ask authors questions back to them that they ask in the book. So I'm going to do a little bit of a rapid fire questions for you.
Oh God. Okay.
Which breakfast pastry would you choose?
I would choose a plain croissant.
Oh, I'm just not expecting that.
Wait, what did you think I was going to say? Like a cheddar scone?
Maybe.
If you had that, I would pick that. But no one has that. Okay.
You're right.
Sorry, I didn't mean to qualify.
At the farmer's market that I go to almost every weekend, I don't like their scones because they have icing on them, but they sell a Parmesan walnut scone that sometimes sells out, and that's what I'll usually get.
A little savory.
A little bit of savory. In the pie chart of Catherine Newman, how many slices would be dad jokes?
of me. I just made a dad joke to my great shame over the weekend, and the kids will never let me forget it because I give their father so much shit about the dad jokes. So a tiny little slice.
Okay, so one.
I mean, of making them, of hearing them.
No, of making them.
Oh, yeah.
Of
okay.
hearing them, she's a
Okay.
bounty.
Oh, and hearing them, that's like the entire overlap with my
She's
husband.
the pie shop.
I own the shop.
Right. Sugar, butter, flour.
Dad joke.
We're back to wages.
Yes, we like to call
If you had to walk into town completely naked or in a special suit that covered your whole body except for where there was a see-through panel in front of your crotch, which would you pick?
Completely naked. And I want to say that we were just in a thrift shop in Valencia, Spain, and there was a jumpsuit with a clear panel in front of the crotch. And our family, who was all together for this experience, died 1,000 deaths because this has been a topic of conversation.
Go get it
since
right now.
Our son was like 3 years old.
I want to
we
know
took
you
a pic-
bought it.
We
right?
took a picture of it. God
That is
knows.
so funny.
Wait, I have to know what would yours be, Jason, of that question? Because
Yeah.
I marked that so specifically. I was like, that is a good question.
Well, you're also completely naked.
Your panel in front of your crotch, then you're just being a freak.
Yeah,
I'd have
that's
to,
right.
I have to
Naked,
be honest.
something
completely
I have to
naked, there's
see
like
the
clearly
suit.
a story there, right?
Right.
Like
Yeah, something went awry.
someone stole the clothes at the lake.
Right.
I
The
have to see
see-through
the
panels,
suit, but
it's
also it
very
could be
deliberate.
It is, but it could also be something that you'd see at the Met Ball. So
Yeah.
Totally.
Right.
Perhaps.
It's like gold jumpsuit
and then just
with
a little.
empty crotch. Right.
That
yes,
was
and it's
fake.
worn
Right.
by Kim Kardashian.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, this is I like don't know how to ask this question because it's like contextual in the book, but I want to preface by saying this is not about sex working. It's about paying this to make your body function. Would you pay $100 a pop to have sex?
This is how the interview ends. Just her laughing at that question. Thank you for joining us, Catherine Newman.
Of course I would, Jason. Of course.
Me
I
too.
would.
Me too. I want my body to function at $100 a pop. Brett.
$100
sure,
a
sure.
pop.
Yeah.
Of course.
Okay,
Yeah.
and finally, what does daddy mean?
Oh my God. Because it was so hard for me when they stopped calling him daddy because they wanted it to seem like does daddy mean someone who basically shells out a lot of money and sort of keeps you and you maybe have a bunch of sex with them?
Maybe. I think it probably
Yeah.
like depends on who's saying it.
Yeah, it's all contextual.
Right.
Well,
And age.
but I don't really know.
Wait, have your own dad switched? Do they call you now? Is it just mom and dad? Because I know some adults who still call their, mommy or daddy.
Wait, what do I call my own parents?
No, and what do your kids call you guys?
The kids call Michael dad, which
Okay.
still every time they say it, I feel like they're pretending to be cooler than they are. Where they're like, "Oh, dad," and I'm like, "Please." And they call me mama still because there's no weirdo like
Yeah.
sex for money vibe about mama.
Right. Yeah,
At
because I'm like
least not
Papa.
that we know about. Are you
Right.
Papa? Papa is adorable. And if we had planned ahead for the horrible moment where daddy would ring bad, we would have done Papa.
Well, and it's funny because when we were debating at the beginning, we're like, who is who? And I was like, it's fine. I will take Papa. And I probably only because of Barbara Streisand's Papa, Can You Hear Me? And so I was like, all right, it's fine. At the very least, like, because I was like, this sounds a little, I had to get on to it. And once it's now, I love it. And I have friends who call me Papa. So because of it.
Oh,
So
your friends call
I have
you
a few people who
Papa?
refer to me. They'll be like, Papa. Our old nanny used to call me Papa. She'd be
Oh,
like,
But he has
"Papa."
other friends who call him daddy.
Right.
Just felt that coming.
Just
What?
my only fans. No, I'm kidding.
Is Papa, can you hear me, Yentl?
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Yes.
Over and out.
Yeah.
Sung by Barbara Streisand, who wanted to do a gypsy movie, but they wouldn't let her because they thought she was too old.
And we
Wait,
brought
for
it all
real?
back again.
Yes,
Yeah.
for real.
That is so good. And
know.
also just the Jewy Yentlness of Yentl.
I know.
Yeah.
So good.
I don't
This
know.
is so funny. It's so random because we're on Yentl. The day that I came out to my mom first over the phone. It was here in Los Angeles. And then the next day, my dad called back and it was a whole thing. I almost said it was a whole mishima or bad. Anyway, the day that I came out.
Mishima, he just
Yes,
said.
thank you. Thank you. I know.
sorry.
I know. Hi, Goyam. Right.
You know what
So
Brett does not have? A Zabar's mug.
No, I do not. But I got off the phone with I literally, the feeling of getting that out was, as any gay person could say, it's so liberating. It's so incredible that I literally put on Yentl's Papa Watch Me Fly, which and ran around the living room like I was like a 7-year-old or something. It was just probably
You're like coming out
back.
anthem.
Oh
It
my
really was. All I needed was
God.
like the prow of the boat to be holding on to and the salt spray in my face. Yeah. But it was a
That's-
pretty incredible moment. Yeah. That just
That's
made me
beautiful.
so.
A beautiful Mishima or whatever.
Mishima.
God, I can't breathe. I need to go get my inhaler because of my fucking asthma, Catherine.
I know. Brett, meanwhile, is unscathed on account of his wasp genes.
Unscathed.
Oh, well.
We just don't talk about
Um,
anything and it's all repressed. So I'll probably have a heart attack at 57.
Oh,
Somewhere there's a painting in your attic of you just like your body falling all apart.
oh my God.
Oh my God.
Catherine, we could sit here and talk to you.
Oh
I
my
know,
God,
I
this
know.
was
I'm
so
sorry.
delightful.
Yeah, the
Don't be sorry.
best.
We want to be respectful of your time. This is about you
The best.
and your
That's-
delicious sandwich.
It is such a delightful. I can't wait for
Oh.
people to experience it.
I mean,
It's
can we
like-
also talk about the UK cover though?
Oh, I know, right?
That cover is so freaking good.
Yeah.
Toast bikini.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
It's so different. They're so Benny Hill over there. They just can't even help themselves.
No, you're so right. Jason, you
Oh,
got that
God.
reference, right? Benny Hill.
No, but I use my context clues. Tell me. I'm
Benny-
younger. I'm young. I have my ailments, but I don't know who Benny Hill is.
Benny Hill is like boob jokes, British TV, old BBC TV.
Yeah, like the 70s.
And as a young queer in the 70s, it was the only way I could see boobs besides Cosmo magazine in my grandma's house.
or National
you could
Geographic.
see boobs on freaking PBS. They would show the Benny Hill show, and once a show, there'd be like a boob that suddenly made an appearance.
And there'd be this
So
like
this was formative for you.
that was the music. Yeah, it was all this like and girls like running and yeah.
Anyway,
Yes.
yeah, that's it. We'll end on that.
That
Sending us
coupled
out.
with Zoom.
That
That and we're gonna zoom.
Oh
yeah.
my God, no. We can't even go down
No,
that
we can't go
path.
down that.
Okay.
Zoom. That's what we are doing. We're zooming.
Yeah, that was the PBS Zoom. Yeah, Benny Hill
Oh.
and Zoom. Two sides of a
This was so fun.
So fun.
When I was little, I got Yenta and Yentl confused. I can't be the only one, right?
You're probably not. Yeah, no.
I mean,
No.
come on, Fiddler on the Roof, Yentl, Yenta. And anyway, for years, people would refer to one and I would not be sure which thing they were saying. Where
Mm.
someone would say, like, I'm such a Yenta, and I would think Yentl. And then
Mm.
I'd
Oh,
be like,
interesting.
what is that?
You were like, am I a boy?
Am I a boy
Right.
going to yeshiva? How strange. Okay. Okay, you go. Yeah.
Very
all right.
Massaman of you. What was the word?
I thought it said
Mishima. I wrote
Mishima.
it down.
Mishima.
Mishima. I have it
Mishima.
written down.
Oh man, I'm dying.
Mishima.
I
Oh,
said Massaman like the curry.
right. Mishima. Mishima.
All right,
Mishigama.
beautiful people. The best. That was
The
so
best.
that was just like the best ever. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Catherine. That was a fulfilling meal.
Check out Sandwich. Find the book on our bookshops.org page. That's it. Have a great weekend. Have a great rest
Have
of
a
your
great
week.
weekend.
Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.